those things that it's okay to have a contradictory thought. You can think,
Yeah.
two things that, you know.
You can think two contradictory thoughts at the same time. In fact, two contradictory opinions can be correct.
You can say, you know, it's really hard going out and being a young black male. It's also hard being a police officer.
Definitely.
It's okay to think both of those thoughts.
But which it is, and that's what people should be thinking, is it is hard on both ends. And you know, it's funny because it was Barack Obama who said this at Nelson Mandela's memorial in South Africa. I'll never forget, he said, Nelson Mandela was my hero. I may be paraphrasing, but the line that stuck out to me was, he said, because he showed not only could you free the prisoner, but he also showed that you need to free the guard. And that was a powerful moment for me, realizing that we are all products of our environment. The police come from the public. They themselves, there is a lot of fear, and I think a lot of the time it comes from the media. You know, we live in a world of anecdotal versus actual evidence. You know, I heard of a guy that was, I know a few policemen who are read about this thing that we love to live in the world of anecdotes, and you know, and police feel like they're more in danger now. You read the reports and police think but statistically, it has never been safer to be a policeman. You know what I mean? But it feels, and that's when you realize how it feels is often more important than what it actually is. And that's where the media plays a big role in accurately portraying what it actually is, so that people work within those parameters as opposed to the emotion that comes with not knowing.
One of the things that you know, I grew up in rural South Louisiana, hunting and everything. Do you find the fascination with guns and the role of guns in this country, is it something that kind of baffles you? Or how do you come at it without?
I don't think it's a fascination with guns. That you know, there's so I'm half Swiss, half South African. Right? I grew up in South Africa, but Switzerland has some.
I was Swiss. What's a Swiss? A Swiss is a negative, right?
Swiss German. So, but the Swiss have some of the highest gun ownership rates in the world, like per capita. And so, but in Switzerland they don't have this issue. So, you know, again, it's about those contradictory views. I think sometimes what happens, sometimes what happens is I see people have a conversation, and the words they use sometimes throw the opposing person off to the point where no one wants to listen anymore. So often when people say gun control here, some people hear better background checks. Some people hear a 72-hour waiting period. Some people hear take my guns away. Right. Some people here make me vulnerable to a government that may turn on me. Some people here make me vulnerable to people that may come and rob my house. Even though statistically we see that the odds of that happening, or the percentage of times that is needed, like a gun to protect you, is very low. People still have the feeling, and it's that. So when people hear the phrase, I've learned that immediately some people shut off. We saw the same thing with people who didn't want to vaccinate their children. As soon as they hear vaccination, some people hear autism immediately. And sometimes it's just about changing that. It's like let's start a new conversation. Let's start afresh. It's a touchy thing. I don't have a gun law in my constitution. I don't have an amendment that says I have the right to bear arms. I haven't grown up in that. And my country was not founded, ironically, South Africa was founded on a bloodless revolution. So we, I guess, do not have an attachment with guns in that way. Guns are a big part of South African culture, because unfortunately there's a lot of gun violence there, mostly illegal weapons. But I don't think it's an obsession with the guns so much as what the guns represent. That's what I feel it is. It's like people are not going, the gun is, it's like what this gun means. It was the same thing with the Confederate flag. People were saying, so when I pull that flag down, do I pull down the memory of my great-grandfather? Do I pull down the memory of my family? Which parts of it do I have to discard? Do I have to be ashamed to be white? Do I have to be ashamed to be from the South? And I realize that often, just in that world, the words we use and the way we have the conversations, it goes so far off the topic that we're no longer talking about guns anymore. We're no longer talking, now we're talking about freedoms. And that's how people perceive it. And it is a lot of nuance. It's not easy because people have that ingrained in them.
Well, Trevor, I'm going to say something in closing, and I mean this, and I'm looking at this audience, and I think they agree with me. Our country has been blessed a lot over the years with our problems, and I think one of our blessings is that you're over here and you're going to play a critical role in this election. And I think that's a very positive thing. We're looking forward to it, and I know we all appreciate the candor, the honesty, and the depth that you bring to humor, you bring to the conversation, you bring to the process. So it's been one of my great